Hello, Michelle. Can you hear me?
How's everybody?
Hello. How's everybody doing?
Good. I'm not sure why I'm not on, but I'm not.
No, I think we got you two places. Looks like Gil home and an iPhone.
Gotcha. Hold on.
Good afternoon, everybody. Good night.
Good evening. How's everybody?
Hello, hello.
Hanging in there. On my way back from surgery, so
Hope you're doing okay.
it put a drain in my eye, so I'm gonna try to hang in there.
Sorry
And
about
see if I can still see the screen.
I'm gonna apologize ahead of time if you guys hear a puppy whining in the background. I'm crate training, so it's been interesting.
Good luck.
Yeah, right.
That's always fun.
Yeah.
I'm just going to get Mike to see if he can show me what I'm supposed to do to get it on the screen. Hold on.
You were there just a second ago.
Okay.
Where'd you have your surgery done at, Dan?
Amherst outpatient.
Okay.
Up there in Amherst. My eye doctor's in Buffalo, so
Mhm.
it was pretty in and out, but the recovery time's forever. They like drop my eye pressure to 0, so it's gradually has to work its way back up.
Oh,
So after 3 weeks, I can finally bend over without passing out.
Under Gil.
yeah. I had detached retina in my first one, and then 5 weeks later, I detached again. So
Ooh.
I had University Eye Care, Dr.
Okay.
Levin. He did
Is there
my
something down there?
surgery back a while ago. So,
That's mute.
and I had that. I had to lay face down for 7 days.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah, when I got out, they said if you bend over because your eye pressure's so low, you'll pass out. You just fall over.
It's sure it's not down on the bottom.
So it's been a while for that. Strollable Olean was the first time I actually was able to get out for a walk, but I'm not allowed to walk by. I wasn't allowed to walk by myself because of the unbalance.
yeah. I hope things are going better now.
Yeah, it's starting to come up. I can I'm allowed to drive for 30 minutes now and only in the city. So process. Next week, maybe an hour.
Yeah.
So
Take your
listen,
time.
how about we get started, even though I'm here in spirit, I'm just not here in face. Listen, I want to thank everybody that did the surveys. I was reading through them and they're all interesting. And I guess I'd like to hear from Chris how, I'm sure you've looked through some of the surveys you received, and how did you find them?
Yeah, I need to go down and pick up the paper surveys because I haven't put them into the online system yet, just to get all the data in one big place. So I need to do that this week. We have 288 responses, which I think is pretty cool. Just on the online, if you add the 46 for the paper, like we're over 300 responses. It does skew female, so it probably almost twice as many females as males that responded. Primarily white, primarily like 30 to 60 age range, and then mostly people who've been, like the proportion of residency was like mostly people who've been here for 20 years or longer. So it's a lot of people who've been here for a long time, if not their whole life. do you want me to share my screen so I can show you some of the results? Is that
Oh,
okay?
sure,
Yeah, that'd be-
definitely.
Yeah, that'd be great.
While he's doing that, I just want to send a big shout out and say thank you to everybody who went down to Olean and did the surveys. I know I wasn't able to participate, but I know like Michelle was down there, Charlene was down there, Vern was down there, John was down there, and probably
Yep.
forget a couple other people, but hey, I appreciate it. I wish I would have been there to participate with you, but life didn't work out for him that way. So I appreciate you guys.
Thank you.
That was a great job by all.
Mhm.
Is everybody able to see that?
Yes,
Okay.
Yes.
I can.
Yeah.
I lost everyone's faces on my screen, so I'm just gonna, sorry.
Hey,
But
I'm incognito anyway, so.
so the result, here are the results there for the, I feel like I belong in the community. Like a significant portion either agreed or disagreed, but it was pretty well distributed across the 5 answers. If we were looking at percentages, though, that's I don't know if you can see the light gray, but the
Mhm.
percentages look about 50% of the responses said either somewhat or strongly agree. Little over 50% there. I feel comfortable in the community was pretty similar. I thought it was interesting here that the neutral option kind of went down and the somewhat disagree grew a little bit. So less for the feeling comfortable, less people were neutral on that. I feel safe in the community kind of, I thought mirrored the I feel the earlier questions, I feel comfortable. I believe diversity is important in our community. That was significantly, strongly agree. And then when we're looking at the questions about like how supportive do you feel that the community is, I think this breakdown is probably easy. To look at than the bar graphs. So on this one, it was, I forgot 1 is very unsupportive and 5 is very supportive. And so if we're looking here at like the very unsupportive, it looks like gender identities and racial backgrounds kind of didn't score too great, in sexual orientation didn't score too great in terms of groups that were seen to be unsupported. But those who felt like that the groups were supported were still there. Does that mean, I don't know if that breakdown makes sense there. On the one about how do we want to see Olean improve, the number 1 rank was neighborhood improvements. The number 2 was diversity centric. So if we're looking at like the 2 areas that got the highest top priority, it would be neighborhood improvements and diversity centric. And then when you start looking at like the number 2 priority, that's where community health starts to really pick up among the options that we had. And then for the question on services, one of the things I noticed in the comments, and this I think was in part like survey design, there was a lot of people who said, well, I don't know if these sources are being met because I don't use them and I don't look for it. And so I think people were looking for an ability to say, I have no idea. So I think we might need to take the responses to this question with a grain of salt, but we could look more at how those different areas are either the needs are met or needs are unmet. I haven't looked too much at the results there, but mainly because of the comments. There's a really big mixed bag of comments, as you would expect from an online survey. But there's a lot of comments that we could go through. But the one that I saw most frequently was actually about how difficult the ranking of services and the ranking of whether or not needs are met was a hard question to answer for a lot of people because they just felt like they didn't know.
Yeah, I noticed on our comments on the paper sheets, they were basically either positive or we needed to do more. Would say there was one about one of the parks, something about trying to do more as far as getting community more involved in events and things like other small communities do. But there were just a few. I didn't have that many comments, and there was only one or two real negative ones. So I thought that was interesting. So Chris, is there anything in the survey that you think we should change or tweak or leave it the same?
Do you mean in terms of like doing the survey?
Well, or like you were pointing out the one question that was a little confusing to people.
Yeah, I think if we made a revision to the survey, it would be on that question about our needs being met, to have an
Right.
option to say, I just don't know.
Okay.
Chris, what would that do to the data that's currently in the system though?
That would mess it up.
Yeah,
Okay.
so I almost think you need to ride it out and just take that into consideration for any future questions. Because it skews the data that's already put in.
That makes
I think
sense.
it makes
That's
for
fine.
this iteration of the survey, it just makes that data unreliable,
Right.
just on
Okay.
that question.
Anybody else have any comments about the survey?
Chris, that one question that you said that you hope that you were explaining well, I really didn't understand it. So I was trying to figure out what you were meaning by that.
So that I was just gonna say in reference to that that question where it was talking about like what the focus was, what areas people were deeming needed the most attention. Is that the question you're talking about, Danny?
I believe so. Is that the one, Chris, to where you were like, well, I hope
The
I'm
one that I said I don't think I was explaining too well was the one about like, are different groups supported or unsupported?
yeah.
Okay.
Because when you were explaining the data, what I got was a certain minority groups didn't feel supported, and that showed up in the data.
Mhm.
But I just want to make sure I'm understanding it correctly.
Yeah, so
Like,
the three areas that showed up at the data that said were most unsupported were race and ethnicity, gender identity, and sexual orientation. So those were the three identities that showed up as feeling most unsupported. And I think after that, the next tier would be mental health status.
Yeah, I was gonna say that I noticed that, and I think for what we were looking at with the survey, I mean, the rest of the stuff is great, but that particular question should be glaring to us. The
Mhm.
fact that those were the top areas that people said weren't supported in the city says a lot about how people feel about the city. Because I mean, I can feel like, okay, yeah, I belong in the community because I feel I should belong in the community, but at the end of the day, I'm not supported by the community. And I think that's what the data is showing us, is that it is from that perspective. Now, we primarily only did the Olean, the online, and then the paper forms that you have. We haven't done the neighborhood sweeps yet, correct?
correct. That's what I thought.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and so I definitely want to make sure that that's still on our radar, because if we really want to make some more impact and really get some more answers, we've got to go to some of these other communities that we've talked about.
Right. The other thing I think that we can do as a comparison point is, just for example, to look at like what are the differences for the responses for people who identified as white as opposed to people who identified as not white. And we can look to see like, is there a significant difference in how people responded on questions like, I feel like I belong, I feel like I am comfortable in this in the community, or safe. So I think that would be one of the other things I'd like to do once we have both the kind of the door-to-door data and the Olean data added in.
You guys are gonna have to stop me because I can talk about data all day long, but because I actually enjoy it. But and the age breakdown as well. in age and race and how they identified. I think
Mhm.
them are some important data points for us. And hopefully moving forward, we can get some people who, you know, haven't lived in Olean for 25, 30 years, and we can break that data down by how long have you lived here too, because that's going to give you some valuable information about how people see it that have lived here forever and people that see it that are newer to the area as well.
Mhm.
So I think, Chris, I think what you got going on for a starting point is absolutely phenomenal data so far through over 300 something surveys. So
The one thing that right now, I would caution breaking down the data too much, because like, just for example, we had about 4.5% identify as Black or African American, but that meant 12 people, right? So then when we take 12 people and we break that group down by age or by like length of time living in Olean, we start to get into like, well, this one person, which is valuable. Like that's valuable data as like is some of the like the individual experiences, but in terms of like statistics, that wouldn't hold up as well.
I don't think there's enough gas in the car to break them down that far yet,
Right.
but hopefully we can get there when we get to the door stuff.
Agreed.
Mhm.
Hi, Charlene. I want to thank you for working the thing for us. I was sorry I didn't make it. I appreciate it.
I'm sure glad you said something, because I was getting ready to talk about you. Didn't see anybody that looked like you, so, but okay, you took ownership, so I can leave you alone.
No, I was laid up. I didn't make it down there for as long as I could walk, but sitting at the table wasn't gonna work. I probably would have ended up on the ground. So, but
Had planned on being there after work and ended up falling out at work and waking up at our lovely ER myself. So I missed all
Wow.
of Olean. So
It was an interesting weekend.
it was. It definitely was.
Yeah, and I apologize again for being out of town, but Gil and I had a very nice time, so I can't apologize for that. Chris, one of the other things I noticed was the education. There were a lot of high school, and in the paper ones, it seemed as though there were more high school, maybe 1 or 2 years of college, not a lot of bachelor, higher degrees. Did you notice that in your computer collection?
I think it was a pretty decent distribution on the online results. So like I think the largest was graduate or advanced degree. And that was 67 people, but the second largest was 66 people with some college, but no degree. So
Okay.
it was a pretty big distribution there in terms of educational attainment.
Interesting.
Well, what was nice is
Don't have any questions?
about I don't know, it was 5:30 or so, 5:15. Had 5 high school kids come by and they took the survey. So that was nice to get them there and even to talk to them then. So
Mhm.
I don't know
Mhm.
I don't know how many others had during the day, but I had that group of 5 that did the surveys.
I had like four high school kids come.
Mhm.
Did they have any questions or ask why we were doing it, or, did they just fill out the paper?
They just
Oh,
filled out the paper, but they were excited to do it. So
Good.
Yeah, they were curious, and we explained to them this was the Diversity and Inclusion Committee doing this survey to try to gauge the community. So they were quite interested. So at the time, it was myself and I think it was about 5:15, because myself and John Crawford were still there, was at the table. So we were engaging with them, so it was nice.
I know
and then
go ahead, Ms.
sorry.
I'm sorry.
Well, the ones that I interacted with did talk a lot about the lack of diversity in the schools. And I told them, because that's something I'm working on right now with administration. So I think they felt good about that. And then also knowing that we're doing with the city, I think that's like a positive thing.
Mm. Yeah,
Michelle-
some of the people that I gave the like the link to specifically, like I would share it or email it out to, talk to people about it. It was, for the most part, it was a positive response. You know, for the opportunity to even provide the information. There was, you know, a handful of people did have some hesitation with, okay, well, is the city really going to do anything with it once they get the information, or is it just going to be, you know, you know, let's check the box and make it look like we're doing something and actually move forward. So it was interesting that was kind of the thought process before they even looked at the survey. You know, so being able to encourage people that now we're actually trying to, you know, make some positive progression, you know, and utilize the information and utilize the voices of the city was definitely positive in that regard. So overall, the response, you know, from the people I've talked to has been positive in reference to it.
That's nice.
Michelle, what's the chances of us getting the survey in the actual high school?
It won't be till next year now,
Oh yeah, that's
because the
right.
kids are done.
We're right up against it, aren't we?
The high
They're
school kids were done either yesterday or today, and I mean, I'm not done till next week, but hence the reason why I look like this. I'm tired, and the end of the year stuff is like,
Yeah, I just heard everybody talking about the excitement of the high school kids, and I was thinking, oh man, how many people
Yeah.
weren't there that would probably be just as excited to do the same thing.
Right. Michelle, are there going to be a lot of kids doing summer school?
that's what
of
I was just
COVID?
gonna say. I'm not sure at the elementary level. I know we're doing summer school. I'm not sure what the high school level looks like, but I could find out, and maybe we could, you know, get the survey out to those kids.
Right, because I know some of the other schools that we've been doing vaccines in, they've been talking about summer school. So I just assumed most schools were doing it this year.
Yeah.
Great. I have a question for Bill. When is our next Stro Olean? I haven't looked on the chamber's calendar lately. Is it like July or August or even
have to
later?
I'll have to look
I
it
was
up.
just curious. Okay. Well, while you're looking,
Let me see what I can find out here.
okay.
I did have another question about the survey, because I still have the ability to send it out to Bonaventure students. But right now, at least the way the survey's set up is if you say that you haven't lived in Olean, that's as far as you get. And so one of the things we could do is to say that their time count living at Bonaventure we would equate that to time counted living in Olean.
Okay.
But I didn't want to do that without at least asking the group.
I look at them kids as residents.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They live here. Yeah, they go home, but they live here. Like my daughter goes to Niagara Community College. She lives on campus in Niagara. She comes here in the summer and on breaks, but she lives there.
Right.
So the next Strolian's August 13th.
August 13th. Okay. Thank you, Gary.
I wouldn't object to that at all, Chris. I actually love the idea. I don't know how everybody else feels, but I love it.
No, I think it's a great idea because we do have a lot of interaction with the Bonna students. You know, when they first come here, and I'm sure Chris is aware of this, and probably Dan, as freshmen, they're encouraged to do things with the community. And I think that's just another way to get them involved and ask for their input. I'm sure many of them, not all of them, come from big cities. You know, I'm sure some come from small areas just like ours, and they might be able to share some ideas with us.
Then I'll take care of getting that out to the student distribution. And just tell them that to count their time at Bonaventure as time living in Olean.
Okay, great. So any other suggestions, or other than walking in the neighborhoods, do we still want to do the farmer's market? I still am going to do not the warming house, the kitchen, the food pantry, just a couple places where people, I think, do feel marginalized, and I think we really need their input. Any other suggestions?
I plan on doing some South Olean, like I said before, Green Street, that area, up through there, and I'll go to some of the public housing units if I'll go there too. It doesn't matter to me. I'll go anywhere. I don't know, Bill, you have your spot down there. I think Aspen.
It's reserved. I have my room reserved, so.
Is it the top floor?
So,
Okay, so
but
moving
anyone
on.
that, anyone that needs the surveys, just let myself or Michika know. She will, she'll get them put in an envelope for you and let you know when you can stop by to pick them up.
Thank you, Bill. Moving on.
Actually, if I can just let you know now that I'll need some, that would be fantastic. And then if I could pick them up sometime, the end of the week or beginning of next week.
Well, how many would you like, Gary?
I would say at least 50 to 100.
Okay. I'll put down 100.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
gonna be in to pick up some.
Linda, how many would you like?
Probably 50 to start.
Okay.
Give
Anybody
me about
else?
give me about another 2 weeks and I'll be able to walk out there.
Okay.
And,
Once I talk to somebody at the high school, I'll get a number for you and then let you know how many I need.
Okay.
No, it's
I'll-
cool.
I'll do a farmer's
can-
market.
Okay.
Uh,
Charlene, do you, what I was thinking of is this Saturday, if you want to do your 2 hours and I can do 2 hours, does that sound doable?
Yeah.
I don't know
yeah.
what time you'd like to do.
I need to do it early because I've got a lot of fill. I'm hauling to my backyard, so the sooner, I can check this off my list, the better.
Okay. So do you want to do like 10 to 12 and I'll do 12 to 2?
That'll work.
Okay. I told the mayor that I do have a folding table and a couple chairs I can bring up and we'll just get the banner and the sign that you guys use for Olean to put up so people will know what we're doing. Okay, so this Saturday sound okay for you?
Yeah, and so Mayor, so I need to stop by and get a couple of the signs from Linda to stick in the ground. Not Linda,
yeah.
Michiko.
Michiko?
Yes,
Okay.
here in the office, and she'll give you the bag with the surveys in it. It's got some clipboards in there and pens.
Got it. Okay.
So if you and Linda can make a rush to get the table there, that would be great. So.
Yep, I'll bring the table and chairs. Okay, sounds like a plan.
Okay, I will let,
Um,
and then Gary and Gary, if you'd like to stop by tomorrow or Friday, Michiko goes to London at 2. So I'll have your surveys in an envelope here for you.
Okay, you were breaking up a little bit there. What time Friday could I stop by?
Anytime, we're here 9 to 5. Michiko goes to lunch from 1 to 2.
Okay, fantastic.
okay, so moving on, what I wanted to bring up tonight is Juneteenth. And what I was thinking, because of our committee and what we're trying to do, if we could coordinate something with Della and do something at the new location to really bring focus to it. And as a committee, be there and just invite the public to come in and maybe have some surveys there, but really introduce and kind of educate the public what Juneteenth is all about. I just think if we're going to be, a diversity committee, we need to be out in the community doing things. And that was something that's coming up, fairly soon. And I know I've participated in it before. And I just think it's something I was thinking about, and I just wanted to throw it out there to see how you guys felt about it.
Are we talking doing something like actually this Saturday?
Yeah, just something, just something to show up and learn and share and just be, present ourselves as part of this committee and show that, we want to be included.
So is it her thing this weekend or is it a different weekend? I can't remember. I remember
Well, they're
seeing
doing-
something, but
Now they're doing like a drive-through dinner pickup for like a fundraiser. They've done that before over at, is it Bethany? Over by the food pantry. So I think she might be doing something at the center on a different date. I can check with her, or maybe Bill, you can check with her and see if there's a date we could pick and a time, to do something with her.
Yeah, they're doing their event on Saturday, June 26th at the Bethany Lutheran Church. Starting at, it looks like, I'm not seeing a time on their flyer here. I'm sorry, yes, noon to 3 or sold out. So
Yeah,
she's
that's
doing an
the-
event there.
The
Uh,
dinner, is she doing like some kind of opening thing before
I
the
don't-
actual dinner?
They're selling food like they did, I believe they did it. If you remember last year, you stayed in your car, they took your order and then
Yeah.
they brought it over to you.
So she's not
I
gonna
think
do
that's
any
what the-
presentation or anything?
I'm not aware of that. Now, there will be a proclamation Tuesday night at the council meeting for Juneteenth, and there will also be another one for Pride Month. So there'll be a
Okay.
proclamation being read there at the meeting. So we're gonna try to get a hold of Della to come and get the Juneteenth one, and I'm not sure who I can get a hold of too. We're working on that to come in and accept the Pride proclamation. So, but I know there's an event that Ty Malone is running, I believe at Franchot Saturday. And then there's another one that Ryan Carney is running up at his grandmother's property on Prince Street on Saturday and Sunday.
Mhm.
So those are the only things I know of happening in town.
Okay, so even if we, show up at these different events, or if you folks want to come to the council, and on behalf of our committee, we can, thank Della for all that she does at the center, and, she's done in the past, and I'm sure she'll do in the future. I just think it would be nice for our committee to be more visible and more out there interacting with things. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. How does everybody else feel about that?
I think you're right. I just am hesitating and say, I just said was hesitating on saying anything because I can't participate until I'm better, but I think you're right. As a committee, you can't work behind the scenes. I mean, if you're going to be a committee, you got to be out front.
Right. Yeah, it was just one of the things I thought of, because I have done the Juneteenth with Della before, and I learned a lot. And I think it's something, as a committee, we need to promote it. I would like to see it on our city website, to get people involved, to know what's going on. Another example of what we talked about before. So if anybody thinks of any other activities or anything going on that you think we should be a part of, bring it to us.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sounds good. Saturday, unfortunately, I'm out of town on Saturday. Family, my grandson's birthday and my granddaughter's graduation from middle school, so I won't be available if we're doing something.
That's okay. I'm going to be free, so I'm going to stop over sometime between 12 and 3, or yeah, 12 and 3.
Is the city doing anything to promote the concert that's coming? That Nick Shambita has secured artists for. That would be another thing that I think that the city would do themselves a favor by promoting, because we've talked and John John talked about this as well. Bringing concerts to Bradner's is a big deal around here, and it should happen. And Nick has put his money where his mouth is, and he put it up there, and we should I think as a city support that, because he was willing to go out on a limb and spend his money where nobody else was.
Now, when
and
is the concert and who is it?
I think it's the 10th. And I just think that it's one of these things where it could be the first of many if everybody embraces it, and it could be the first of many different types and genres or whoever artist. I mean, but it's something that we've talked about in this committee.
Mhm. Yeah,
Utilizing
that's the first I've heard about it.
Yeah, we're working with Nick, from our end, supporting with the police, fire, DPW. And so we will get it advertised on our website, and it'll probably go up on the sign over by Bradner Stadium, concert there and things like that. So
Bill, do you want to just update everybody on the digital sign that we approved the other night at the council and how we
Yes.
can advertise on that?
yeah, we'll be putting a digital sign, electronic sign over at by the War Vest Park, right across from the stadium there. That'll be coming up. The council approved the money. We've got the sign or the actual panels, digital panels ordered. And then as part of the Olean, what is it? Walkable Olean 3. No, I'm sorry. Part of the wayfinding, that's grant we have for another grant we have for North Union. That'll be at the entrance, or right over there. It'll be digital. We'll be able to add, put things on every day, change things a lot easier, and get a lot more bang for your buck with things that we need to put on there. Advertising, example, when we have sweeper week, it's now B week and A week and B week, so people can be reminded. And if there's if there's a snow event, we can put that on there. Different things that that's it's one of our busiest intersections in the city over there. So that's coming up. And what else we got coming up? Many things. So
Oh, yeah, a lot of projects.
I want to say something to the effect of, getting us out and involved in different activities as far as, that highlight various aspects of diversity. I think one thing we as a committee should get better at, if that's what we want to do, is not waiting until the last minute to suggest it. Juneteenth is Saturday. And so I just think we need to do, myself included, us as a whole, as a committee, need to do a better job of being more proactive in those aspects, especially if we're going to make the step to be out and visible and involved. And for some of these aspects, it's something that the city can plan things for as well, even if it's just acknowledgement, statements, a press release from the city, something to that effect, to actually acknowledge it. But I think on a couple of occasions, we've waited until the last minute to kind of address something or get involved. And I think we need to do a better job of that as a committee.
Yeah, I agree. Can anybody think of anything coming up that we should get ahead of at this point?
Well, just for clarification, is Della's, her thing is the 26th, so it's after Juneteenth? Is that?
yeah, I just sent everybody the flyer. You should have got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, hers is the following week. So
That is
The other thing,
the
Bill,
same
is she going
weekend.
to have a grand opening for the new center?
it's she is, as soon as it's completed. I just was there with Joe Giglio and Senator Borrello, and we did a tour of the place, and she's got still quite a bit of work to do in there. They're moving along, and they were I know she was working with one of the financial institutes to get what they're gonna need and for their cash flow, in order to get the things done, because with the grant they got from Empire State Development, it's a grant where it's a reimbursement grant. You have to do the work and then you get reimbursed. So they were still working on that. So, but they've done quite a lot already in there, and they're moving right along. So,
Okay, so we'll keep tabs on, we'll keep in touch with Della, and that would be something that we should, definitely be present at. Any other suggestions
were you
of
gonna
things
say
coming up?
something?
That same weekend, the weekend of the 24, 25, 26 is also the Cat County Pride celebration and that's happening. And I was just looking that up to make sure I had the dates right. So Pride weekend is that same weekend.
Yeah, I've seen that on Facebook. That's been out there a lot.
Oh,
What-
I think is there an event in Lincoln Park or,
There's a Lincoln Park event on Friday evening,
okay,
and that looks like there are other events at like a couple restaurants or bars, but I think like
yeah, the 4 Mile Brewery.
yeah.
That's all I was gonna ask is where is it being held?
Yeah,
Lincoln
4
Park,
Mile.
4 Mile, and 4 Mile again. And then there's a Pride in the Park at the Allegheny River Park
Okay,
that's Sunday.
okay, yeah, I just think, these are things that we should try to, show up at. And let people know that, we're out here to get suggestions or just to listen to, what they think we should be doing, that we're not doing.
Chris, who's organizing that?
And the flyer says the ORJC, so I assume Leo.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Anything other than what we've touched on for events or promoting things? And again, these are things that we should be promoting on our website, the city website, so everyone can see it, and participate. Okay, the other thing that I thought I would just bring up tonight is, I know we've worked on a couple policies to this point. Is there another policy that we haven't talked about that you think we should be touching on as far as the city? City government, I should say. Is that a no?
so
Yeah.
other than the social media one, what was the other one we were gonna work on? Was it? It wasn't harassment, was it?
Oh, we did the
Yeah, but-
harassment.
I don't know if we've finished any, but we've gotten started on the harassment one, on the social media one, and then there was some updates that Charlene put together to the hiring and firing. procedure.
Right.
That was the other one I was going to mention, the hiring and firing process.
Or maybe not firing was, I don't know if firing was part of it. but
Yeah, no, I think it
the
was
hiring and
Discipline.
recruiting,
Discipline, maybe.
hiring. Yeah.
The social media one, I thought we finished and we were waiting to hear back about something from that. Was that?
It had to get
Am I
pushed
correct?
to the, I thought one of the attorneys, we were waiting
Okay.
to hear some responses from that, I thought.
Yeah, that, and we had one company come and give us a proposal, for upgrading our website. And now we're thinking of sending RFPs out to, get other bids. So that's still in the process. And the harassment one, I'm thinking, I know we talked a lot about it. Is that one finished, or are we still looking for more information, or?
I only recall working on the social media one.
As far as actual policy with social media.
Right.
We just had conversations about the other topics. We didn't actually.
Okay,
We didn't actually start looking at or writing or changing policy.
yeah, I think a couple of us were just asking other municipalities what they have.
Yeah.
And we're all basically on the same page with that.
Okay.
So since we're sort of on hold with the social media, would you want to start diving into the harassment one? And just get some information, and maybe our city attorney can, I know we have something in place now, but if he can maybe review it and see if we need to update things or add things that we really don't have in there. Does that make
And
sense?
is there any update on what's going on with the social media one from
No,
whoever
No.
needs to review it?
No, Jack, the city attorney is, there's just, there's, as you know, it is only a part-time position, and he is just, there's a lot of things going on right now, so it's on his thing, it's on his list to do, so.
So, and I understand that, but then like we're putting forth a lot of work and effort to get these done. It'd be nice to have feedback before we go on to something else.
Yeah.
So that we know we're on the right path with our language and stuff like that. So,
He's on vacation, he's away this week, so when he gets back on Monday, I'll have a conversation with him, so.
Yeah, I definitely think some of the stuff that, as a committee we're putting forward, especially when it comes to policies, we should, have some level of priority, at least to get some kind of feedback, maybe not to get finalized, but.
mhm.
You
Right,
know, Bill, one thing you might share with him that will help us when we're developing and policies and putting information together, maybe he can give us an outline of,
yeah,
what he's looking for, or some kind of roadmap that we can use, in our development process to save us time.
Yeah.
And maybe like what would be helpful as part of that, maybe he can come to a committee meeting and tell us what policies, what format or what, whatever needs to be there for it to be valid policy, and what legal parameters, what can we not say, or something.
right.
Mhm.
mhm.
I write policies all the time. And of course, they think I'm from outer space because it's the way things are done in the real world, but it gives us something to, cut away from.
Mhm.
Um,
Good point.
Bill, I may be forgetting things because that happens to me since I've been down. But I thought the harassment policy, you were going to go back to NICOM and see if some other people had some ones that we could look at from other municipalities and bring them for templates.
No, I
Yeah.
thought that was the social media.
That's social media, yeah.
Like I said, I could be completely somewhere. So, but can we do the same thing for harassment policy? I mean, them ones have already passed, obviously, through a city attorney. They've already passed through a municipality. They've already passed through a common council. So, I mean, they can't be that far off of what
I know.
True.
Yeah, we can do that.
Yeah, it'd definitely be beneficial to be proactive. Like we talked before, instead of, now that we know we can go down some different avenues and channels, to use them before we start putting pen to paper. And like Charlene was saying, if we can even get out like a skeleton and outline a roadmap, that'll make our job so much more easier, instead of it getting shot down because of essentially how we structured it, as opposed to,
But didn't the one that we kind of went by and used, wasn't that from another
Mhm.
city
Yeah.
similar to?
Yeah,
So,
I pulled the skeleton from another municipality, but in John,
so like, what is it that we would have the city attorney look for? Because my whole thing is, I don't mind doing this, but I don't want to do work and have to go back and redo it. Like, especially because like I do a lot of that at school and it's frustrating. So I just want to make sure when we're assigning these tasks to different people that we put all this time and effort into it. And then, well, it comes back, oh, well, no, you can't say this, you can't say that. Like, what is it that we would have to be doing differently in our city than what other cities are doing? Because we all have the same, like, we want the same idea and result, correct?
Yes.
Or
Mhm.
am I like way off on my thinking?
No,
No.
you are. No, you're right on your
You're right.
thinking. It's you know, I'm not, Danny, was that one that you had? I can't remember. Was that from New York State or was that from another state? When you start going in other states, things change.
I
So
pulled it.
I can't remember where you,
I pulled it from another New York State municipality, roughly about our size, and I can't remember the exact city name, but
yeah.
I just know that when me and John talked about it, there was some, you know, things that you have to run through the city attorney to make sure that they match up with, you know, make sure you're not breaking any contracts, I guess.
Right, and
Yeah.
a lot of it, I think, with our city attorney, he would be looking at the language in the contracts with our different unions.
Right.
And that's why, remember I mentioned Joe Bracchio, our union attorney,
Mhm.
and he was the other one that was going to look into it. So that's where we left it with Mr. Hart and Mr. Bracchio. So hopefully they'll come back to us and say, you know, it's not going to interfere with any of the union contracts and the language. You know, I mean, I'm not sure how long it's going to take, but I don't want to put words in their mouth. You know, they're the ones that should come back and explain it to us.
Only 2 pages.
Yep. It's not like it's a book.
Well, the other thing is part of what I had said earlier, maybe they can tell us what kind of union language to use or not to use, so it would be, you know, more in alignment, or, you know, put that piece in there too, since, and this is a sarcastic comment, but it's who I am, it's what I do. Since we can't seem to get anything done without, you know, union approval, which I get that whole thing. Like I said, I'm being sarcastic, but
Mhm.
that, you know, we could also use that in the development process to save us some time.
Well, I will give you a piece of news. We finally got everything as for our human resource specialist for the city here, the part-time position. We finally got everything approved by civil service. I have an eligibility list here, which only has two people on it. So what that means is that, and I just got this, they canvassed the whole list, and there was a list of 10, I believe, somewhere like that, and only 2 have said they would be willing to, you know, look at a part-time position. So what that means is that we will be sending out an advertisement for this position, and I'm not held to choosing one of these 2. There would have to be 3 on the list. So if there's someone else that meets the minimum qualifications, then we could hire that person on a provisional appointment until such time as the test is, until that person takes the test. So that's actually good news. So that'll be probably going out here. The advertisement will probably be going out first of the week. We usually give a week or so for people to I think we even give 10 days for people to apply, and then we'll start the interview process, and then so we should hopefully have somebody in that position, which can actually help us with a lot of this, what we're doing here with the policies and stuff.
So when we do hire that person and they can help with the policies, the same thing has to happen still? We have to wait for the city attorney to look it over?
I think it'll be
I
a
feel
lot.
like we're doing this and we're never gonna have a policy in place. Like it's,
No, we will. I think the process will be a lot smoother because that'll be that person's sole job is to,
I'm gonna hold
take
you
care
to
of
that,
issues.
Bill.
what's that?
I'm gonna hold you to that.
Oh, you can, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. There's right now we got a lot of people doing a lot of little things, and this will pull it all under one umbrella. So that person will be taking care of a lot of things.
Did we as a committee get a chance to look at the job description for that, like the qualifications and stuff?
Probably not. I sent it out to the Common Council, so
It's hard to know if you know somebody if we don't know what the qualifications,
I'll send out the job description sheet, so, okay. And that was taken from, well, we used one that the county uses, we used one that BOCES uses, and this was geared for the city of Olean, so.
So Bill, will you let us know when you talk to NICOM and see if there's a harassment policy out there that we can kind of borrow?
Yep. Now we were talking, we do have, the sexual harassment policy that, everybody has to go through the state training once a year. And
Right.
so but you're looking for, from memory, you're looking for a separate harassment policy.
I'm looking for Chris to explain that because he explained it so well the first time.
And I just dropped a link in the chat for if you wanted to take a look. There's a really solid anti-harassment and bias-related harassment policy at Newburgh, New York.
Okay.
And so it covers it covers targeted harassment on other areas of identity, not just sex and gender.
Okay.
And so I think the sexual harassment policy is vital and it needs to stay. But this type of policy would cover like bias and harassment on the basis of other types of protected identities.
Would that become under workplace violence also, Chris?
It could, but it doesn't necessarily, like this type of policy usually doesn't cover physical violence. Well, I mean, it would cover physical violence if it's motivated by bias, but it doesn't have to be physical violence. It could also be harassment and discrimination.
Well, and the new,
Workplace violence, is not just physical, it's also threat.
Okay.
There's a lot of different things covered under workplace violence.
well, and I think the state wants the focus to be like a culture, because like you're saying, there's several different things that make up the culture. So the idea is the policy, well, this is my interpretation, that the policy should cover all kinds of harassment, discrimination, et cetera. So you don't have a bunch of different policies for something that could be one well-written document. And the workplace violence, I mean, that's that really is kind of a separate animal unto itself, because it is more probably about aggressive behavior, whether it's verbal, physical, etc. That's something where you need to do something right now rather than sit down and review the policy and see if the person violated it.
So you know how a lot of the sexual harassment policies cover like the quid pro quo and also the hostile work environment.
Mhm.
This would cover both of those types of things, but on the basis of race, religion, sexual orientation, military, veteran status, like all of those protected classes, it would kind of have that same framework that's developed in the sexual harassment, but it applies it to other identities.
Okay. Mhm.
Okay. So you sent us the link, right, Chris?
I just put it in the chat, but I can send it by email too. It's a link for what I consider a really solid one, but I'm also using university, like higher ed policies as a comparison point to what I consider really solid.
Okay. Okay. Okay, let's see. It is almost 7:30. So I will be picking or bringing that table for the farmer's market. I'll see Charlene there. We'll be contacting NICOM about the harassment policy. And Chris, if you could send us an email with that, then we can look at that. Also, we'll check with Mr. Hart and see where things are when he gets back on the social media policies that we are trying to work on. Okay,
So
I have
Let-
one question. I hate to go back to the
that's okay.
the civil service, about the civil service for the part-time position. So when you do that, is that just in Cattaraugus County or does that go out? Like, how far does that search go out for that position for the civil service?
We'll put it on, we'll put it in the newspaper, our social media pages, you know, so it's usually locally, so.
But so people in other counties can look at and take the test for, that's what I'm saying. Is it just Cat County or is it other?
Civil service, I think, I'm not definite on that. I think anybody can take the
Anybody
civil
can
service
take it.
test. Yeah,
Mhm.
Okay.
so, but we always give, since I've been mayor, we always give preference to City of Olean residents. So,
Linda, where do you want to meet what time and where do you want to meet to set up the table? Where do you want to set it up? You know, all that.
I think we talked about over by closer to the gazebo, so we're not in the middle of the market. And we'll put our signs there and we
Okay.
can meet about 9:45 to 20 minutes to 10. I'll bring the table and chairs.
Okay,
Okay.
okay.
Okay, guys.
All right.
So
See you there.
I'll let you go.
the bag,
And if you think of anything, send us an email or something. And like Bill said, you can pick up the surveys if you'd like to, the hard copies in the office. And have a good week.
Charlene, will you be picking up the bag with the surveys and clipboards and that?
Yes, I'll actually be picking them up on Friday.
Okay. Just remember, Michiko's gone from 1 to 2 for lunch.
Okay,
So
I'll send her an email and coordinate with her.
a lot of the times I'm here, but sometimes I'm not here during that hour, so.
Okay,
Okay,
All right.
see you Saturday.
okay.
Thanks,
Bye,
everybody.
guys.
Bye,
Everybody,
y'all.
great night.
Hey, Chris, could you give me a call? Chris, at the office here, 376-5615.
Got it. No problem.
Okay, I'll wait for your call right now, if that's
Okay.
okay. Thank
Yep.
you.